Hello, and welcome to another episode of Douglasville Impact, our community podcast. This is going to be a fun one. This is going to be a different one because we have some regular people, we have some special guests, and we have some super special guests joining us today at the table. This guy's going to distract me the whole time. I know, buddy. Hang on. All right, so let's get started real quick. Let's introduce everybody we got at the table. Joining us once again is Miss Haley Chapman.
Hello.
And joining us, we have three special guests joining us today. Miss Vanessa Fransikowski.
Yes.
Shelter manager with the Douglas County Animal Services, right?
Yes.
And Miss Susan Duncan, who is with the Douglas County Humane Society, right?
Yes. Hi.
And this guy, this guy doesn't quite have a name yet, but he likes to chew on my arm. We're going to call you Dougie for the rest of this show, just so we have a reference for you, okay? Do you want to say hello to everybody? Hello, everybody. This is Dougie. Hi.
Oh.
Now, yeah, there you go. We'll talk to him. Just as a little precursor, if you're just listening to the audio version of today's show, you might want to go over to our YouTube channel and check out the video version so you can get the full effect of Dougie here in the studio with us. We're going to be talking all about the Humane Society and the animal shelter and all about Dougie and all of his friends over there. Right? Right, buddy? There you go. So, and we're going to try to focus, but it's going to be hard. So we're going to start off as we normally do. We're going to talk about some news and events. Haley has some news and events she's going to try to talk about while I play with the puppy. So, Haley, take it away.
I will try
Hey, Dougie.
and not get distracted. We've had a fantastic week here in Douglasville. First off, our own Mayor Robinson was awarded the 2020 Women in Public Service for her achievement, leadership, and commitment to public service. It was amazing award for her. So that was a great celebration that we had here. And then also, speaking of Mayor Robinson, the kids, I believe it was Miss Christy McCoy's class at North Douglas Elementary.
Yeah.
They were all decorating their doors for Black History Month, and that class did Mayor Robinson, and it was fantastic.
It was very cool
actually,
looking.
yeah.
The door. They drew a picture and stuff of her. It looked really cool.
Yeah.
Had quotes all over it. It was really neat.
Yeah, and of course, Mayor Robinson was the first female, and then the
Correct.
first African American mayor of Douglasville.
Correct.
So that was really cool to see. And then, oh my gosh. And then,
This is very important news. Focus.
and then also, we recently had our dedication for Keep Douglasville Beautiful. They planted trees on our Arbor Day.
Correct. Back on Martin Luther King Day, we had a day of service where they
Yes.
took a bunch of trees down in front of Douglas County High School. And then on Martin Luther King Day, they had a day of service where they planted a whole bunch of new trees. He's rolling over. And then on Arbor Day, they actually had a nice dedication ceremony to dedicate the new trees in the new little area and stuff.
Yeah.
So that was really neat.
It was beautiful out there. I don't know if
They did a
y'all
good
have
job.
had a chance to go out there, but I drive in every day, and everyone that's coming off the interstate, to Douglasville will pass this new beautiful area, and it was really cool to hear that those trees that had been there actually that was the end of their lifespan.
Yeah.
So it was something that
Yeah.
needed to be done, and
Yeah.
this is basically planting for the future.
Right. It's
And-
not like we're just taking down trees.
Yeah.
I know my wife, for one, is like, why are they always cutting down trees? But this was one where it was for, they needed to come down before they were a hazard or danger or something. And we replaced them all with probably more trees than we took down. So,
Yeah, I
which is
believe
nice.
the count was a fairly large
A lot.
difference. Yeah.
So as they grow in, that'll be really nice.
Yeah, and then there's a area for the students, or that is like a sitting area that they're hoping for the future that kids could come out there and be surrounded by the trees and study, and it's for the Wynn Foundation,
Yes.
and it was really cool to hear about the history of the Wynn family and the legacy of their family now getting to live on for future generations. I know they had a lot of connections with Douglas County.
Yes,
Douglas
they
County
did.
High.
Yes. Sorry. Yes. Yes, I'm totally listening to you. I'm totally paying attention to every word you say. And not to Dougie chewing on my hand.
Oh, goodness.
So yeah, good news, right? Good stuff.
Yes, definitely.
What about real quickly? What kind of events we got coming up? Anything we got coming up on the near future? We got Anything fun coming up? I'm trying to think what's next. We got some ribbon cuttings coming up.
West
stuff
Pines.
Like that. West Pines launching their new training center over there. We have a bunch of events. They're all on our website. Webmaster Chris has got them all up there. So visit our website, douglasvillega.gov, and check out all the upcoming events. But I don't think we can delay any more with news and events. We've got to get back to Mr. Doug here. And talk a little bit about him and his buddies. So let's move on to Vanessa and Susan and talk a little bit about the animal shelter, the Humane Society, and all of Doug and his friends over there and what they have going on. So what do you want to start off with and tell us about the animal shelter and the Humane Society and how you guys serve our community first.
Okay. Yes, as the Douglas County Humane Society in the past actually ran the shelter, and so now we are just the charitable arm of the shelter. We support them in all things with the community as well, pet pantry to help feed pets of those that can't for a temporary basis, so that way they can keep their pets. We try to spay and neuter as many in the community as possible of their pets, so that way they don't end up in the shelter. But we still get little puppies that come into Douglas County Animal Services, so we also want to support their work of spaying and neutering all the dogs and cats before they leave. So we're excited to be here today and kind of share, the growth that we've had throughout the years of the Humane Society and how, we're really making a difference with the shelter.
Absolutely. And you guys
That's
got
amazing.
a new shelter, is that correct?
So we've been there almost 3 years.
3 years?
From the old
relatively,
location.
yeah.
And it's fantastic. What you see from the outside and even from the lobby it doesn't totally give you the whole picture of what we have there. We do have a surgical suite. Our surgical suite, we do all of our spays and neuters in-house now.
Wow.
So when somebody adopts an animal, as long as it's, a certain age and medically sound, we will go ahead and spay or neuter it before it leaves the building. And that's just in an effort to go ahead and control the overpopulation of pets and unwanted pets that we have here. It also kind of gives us an idea of, since we have our lab work machines now, we just got those in, and we're getting our extra machines in as well. If we see something that's kind of questionable before we sedate an animal for anesthesia and for spay or neuter, we can kind of start looking at that. Because we do get animals that have been out in the field for months at a time.
Yeah.
We get dogs that they're eating raw bones and things like that. So we're able to diagnostically check them before we put them under anesthesia and say, hey, this dog might not make it under anesthesia, let's try to do something else. So it helps our numbers as well. Like Susan was saying, the Humane Society has been a really big charitable arm for us. We get a lot of donors that help. We get a lot of charitable grants that help with us. But if it weren't for the Humane Society, we wouldn't be able to do half the things that we do. One of the big things that we did this past year in 2019 is we became a no-kill status. So the no-kill status is huge for us because in the history of the Humane Society and Animal Services, it's never happened in Douglas County. To be a no-kill shelter is you're in the limelight. That is what every animal shelter, every animal services aims for. And what a no-kill status is we have a 90% live release rate. So 90% of our animals that leave our building, it's live release rate. So we don't euthanize for space. We don't euthanize for longevity of time in the shelter. We've had dogs there 6-7 months. Ideally, we don't want them there that long, but we don't euthanize for anything like that. If we ever do have to say goodbye to a pet, it's because of severe medical issues, something that's going to, compromise their quality of life.
Yeah.
All right.
Doug, you seem to be really happy about that stat.
Yes, yes. And it's
incredible.
fantastic. The way we did that this year, this past year, is we have a great team. We have a fantastic resource coordinator who works with the public. We have PetSmart adoption events. We have social media. We're heavy on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Our volunteers kind of push our network out there. We have a rescue coordinator who works solely with the rescues. So a lot of these dogs that may not be adoptable to the public because of medical health issues, sometimes behavioral, we can get them out to rescue. So instead of having to euthanize an animal, we have avenues, pathways to get them out. And then our adoption rates have tripled with the fact that we're using social media, we're getting out in the public, adoption events. So that's contributed to us being no-kill now. And it's fantastic. We're leaving, me and the director are leaving tomorrow actually to go to Austin for a Pets Alive conference.
Oh.
And that is solely focused on maintaining no-kill status. So it gives you tips and tricks of the trade to
Yeah.
keep us where we're at.
That's awesome.
One of the things too, we added the heartworm treatment
Right.
assistance program too for a lot of the dogs that are going to come into the shelter haven't had any heartworm prevention medicine. So they will find that during testing that they have heartworms, and that's a big financial cost for someone adopting that thinks, oh my, what am I going to do? So we assist with the heartworm treatment cost straight to the vet. And that way, we know that when they're adopted, they are going to get treated and have a longer, healthier life. And that also the adoptions, they're not going to stay in the shelter longer, waiting for just that hero adopter who's willing to take on, providing that treatment for them. So
They remove a
we're
lot of the
excited.
barriers.
We had
Yeah.
24 adopted and treated last year. So
Oh, wow.
we're excited about that.
That's awesome. Yeah.
It is.
Great. It's been really good.
So you mentioned the new surgical suite. Is that something that you provide simply for the animals that come through, or is it open to the public?
It's not
or
open to
at
the
all?
public, just because the legalities of running your own standalone
Sure.
practice and then getting vets on board. Right now, our vets, a lot of them donate their time and services to
Okay.
us. I mean, we work with all the vets in Douglas County, and it's fantastic. They write our shelter protocols. They do our surgeries. Dr. Griffin with Wild Things Mobile Vet, she's actually our spay and neuter vet. So she comes in twice a week, and we spay and neuter pretty much everything that we can get our hands on that's
Yeah.
medically sound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's also done some emergency surgeries for us and life-saving surgeries
Yeah.
as well. We deal with Douglas Oaks, Sweetwater Creek, K Animal Hospital. All of them have kind of contributed to helping
Oh,
us with our
that's great.
surgical suite.
Yeah.
But we've done amputations, like I said, we've done exploratories. Because it's, a lot of people think that because they're unknown animals that they don't get the same care that they would in private practice. And to me, that's just not fair. Just because these guys don't have owners doesn't mean they don't get the same quality of care as a dog that's owned. So we do our best. They get their vaccines, they get heartworm tested, rabies vaccines, spayed and neutered, pretty much anything that we can provide for them, we do.
Yeah.
Love that.
And we've got their back on the community side with our program. We changed it so no one's turned away in Douglas County. If proof of need or without, we're going to
Right.
help if they'll do our program on our website, douglascountyhumanesociety.com. And just go to the website,
Yeah.
and we will help anybody in Douglas County spay and neuter their pets. Then that way, like we said,
Yeah,
it'll help
there
the
you go.
pet overpopulation.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then she's also got the trap neuter return policy
Right.
for
We do have
community
new,
cats.
yeah, we have a lot of new programs. We were able to go ahead and pass an ordinance so we have community cats. So they're protected. As long as they've been spayed, neutered, ear-tipped, and combo tested, we're able to release them back as long as there's a caretaker. So if
Right.
animal control gets a call about a stray cat that's hanging out on somebody's property, as long as it's been ear-tipped and we have a responsible owner, we don't have to bring it into the shelter.
Yeah.
So that reduces our numbers.
That's good.
Our TNR program is if you have a cat on the outside of your house, it's not really a domesticated cat, it's more of a feral, doesn't really want to be around you, but it serves a purpose on your property. We'll spay and neuter it, ear tip it, and release it back onto your property. We also have a barn cat program. So our barn cat program is geared towards cats working. A lot of people don't think that animals have jobs, but they do. So, you always see those memes about, the cat at your doorstep with a little mouse. It's brought you a present.
Yeah.
That's our barn cats. So what we do is we know that they're not necessarily friendly. They're more of the feral status. They don't want to be around you, but they're not hurting the environment. They're
Right.
actually helping. So what we do is we spay and neuter them, and if somebody has a barn that they have a rodent problem, we give them a cat for free, and they serve their purpose. And we've had some really
Nice.
good calls, kind of like the
Yeah.
memes, with the pictures, with the little cat that'll bring them a mice or, a gecko or something. But that's what we do. We put them to work. And like again, it saves us from having to euthanize animals that have been there for months at a time.
Yeah.
You give them a job, get them out. I know that for our dogs as well, we've sent some to the USDA for the bomb detections. We were on the
Very
news
cool.
about a year ago for one of our dogs, Chipper. They graduated from that program, and he was a shelter dog. Tons of our rescues, they send them up north. They are hospice dogs. They're therapy dogs. They go to the children's hospitals. Every animal has a purpose. And so, we haven't figured the ones out for fish yet, but we do have, every animal does have a purpose. And so we try to field them where we think they'd work best.
Yeah.
And it works. You have Border Patrol, you have the police departments. It helps.
Yeah.
It really does.
Well, so, sorry, you mentioned the fish. So I want to go back because you told us something beforehand that I didn't realize. So we're talking about how the animals come to you guys and some of the services that you provide. How do you end up with fish?
Okay. So the shelter doesn't just have the Humane Society and the shelter side. We also work with animal control. We're housed in the same building. And we work side by side with the community. If we ever get calls of cruelty, welfares, a lot of times people will be evicted and they left animals there.
Yeah,
So legally, animals are considered property. And the police department working with us as well in the sheriff's office, we don't leave any animal, anything that's considered alive, fish, turtles, snakes, whatnot.
Yeah.
You don't leave them there because you don't want them to suffer. So we bring them into our facility.
Okay.
And if there's, a death in family or something, we can't reach a next of kin, we'll take ownership of them and try to adopt them out.
Yeah.
But, like we have a pig right now.
My goodness.
We get pigs a lot.
Uh-oh.
We get roosters, we get chickens, we get ducks. You name it, we get them in.
So you just never know. So yeah, if anybody's looking for anything,
Yes.
Yeah.
Check here first.
Yes. You can double
'Cause-
check with us. We have adoptapet.com. We work with Shelter Pro. So Shelter Pro and adoptapet.com, they work together. So anything that comes into our building through animal control or through the shelter site, if you go on Adopt a Pet, put in our zip code, the 30135, it'll show you every animal that is listed in our building every 4 hours. It refreshes.
wow. Perfect.
And again, like I was telling you earlier, with animal control, we have a new system to where if my dog just got picked up and I call the shelter, I can physically look on my Shelter Pro portal and see what the animal officers have on their truck. So in real time, I
nice.
know what they're going to be bringing into the
Yeah.
building, and I can call that owner back and say, yes, your dog is
Yeah,
coming to the
he's here.
shelter. You can come pick it up at 1.
yeah.
So it works out. It's kind of like, and we do push microchipping animals as well, because a lot of people don't understand. If you microchip your dog or your cat, and animal control picks it up, we scan them in the field. And so if we know, hey, this is registered to you, it's kind of like Uber. We take
They'll
them right
drive
back
it
to
on.
you.
Yeah.
You don't skip the shelter, go right back home.
Yeah.
And it for me, it reduces their stress level. Because for me, my own animals, if I take them to a boarding facility, they get stressed out. So if your dog comes to my shelter, they're going to get a little bit stressed out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather just send them right back home. You got your Uber, officers are really great. Take them back home, and you're good to go.
And they do microchip at the shelter, and you just walk your dog or cat right in, and they'll take care of it for you. So,
One-stop shop.
yep.
Well, and we always are. And Dougie's asleep now, so I'll take it down a notch. We are always talking about how much we love the Humane Society, and just not only just the service you provide, but for anyone who's looking for an animal, it's actually a great value as opposed to going and shopping for your purebred, whatever you're looking for
Right.
and whatnot. Is it a set price for adopting a dog or a cat, or does it range or
There's
vary?
different prices. We do promotions at least once a month. A lot of people will go ahead and sponsor an animal. So some of the animals are already paid for.
Yeah.
They'll just do a donation to sponsor an animal. We have long-term residents where a lot of the times we'll go ahead and waive their adoption fee because, they're hospice patients. They're 14, 15-year-old dogs. They're not going to have,
Yeah.
that many
Yeah.
years. But we do try to get them out the door into loving homes. Our cats, we have a stray hold fee. So every animal that comes in through our building has to have a 72-hour mandatory stray hold. This allows the public to say, you know what, I think I lost my dog. Before we adopt it out,
Yeah.
they have the time
Yeah.
to reclaim it, which is where Adopt a Pet comes in really handy because you can see what's in our building. But once they are off of their stray hold, they're available for adoption. But we do get, dogs like this that are in high demand, and we do put stray hold fees on them. We have
Yeah.
regular adoption fees. It's kind of, we try to adjust it as much as we can based on the person's situation and based off of the need of the animal
Sure.
as well. We do have set prices, but it does vary at times.
Yeah. We appreciate the businesses and groups around that will do like a pet of the month and help
Yeah.
promote
Oh, yeah.
some of the dogs
Right.
that have been there longer. They can put that on their Facebook, social media platforms, so that way they get some more attention. And, they're checking people out as they, do their application and come in. So studies have shown, if it's for free, this doesn't mean it's going to a bad home in any
Right.
way.
Yeah. Oh, no.
That that person it just caught their attention, and then that got them excited about adopting, and that's all that we need. So
And
to
there is
get
a big
these dogs
misconception that
adopted
when you
and
do
cats.
free adoptions, that we're just handing them out and not looking into it.
Yeah.
But what we do is people do have to fill out an adoption application with
Oh,
us.
yeah.
And what we do based off our system is we run background checks. So we can check if they've had any priors for unrestrained pets, for cruelties and things like that. So once they've been vetted by us, then we'll go ahead and release them. And then, of course, there are breed restrictions in some apartments and some places like that. So we verify with every avenue that we can prior to letting an animal out of the building. This way, our return rate is a lot less.
Yeah.
We try to
Yeah.
send you out the door with as much information and backing to do a good retention rate. I love them, but I don't want them back.
Yeah.
I want
We
them
do
there forever.
wanna be in
appreciate
good
that
homes,
they
right?
do
Yeah.
allow a return
Yeah.
because that way, the animal doesn't get into a situation where somebody just, thought they could handle it and then,
Right.
Yeah.
figured out, oh no, this isn't for me.
Yeah.
We'd rather the cat or dog come back, and we'll try again, a different adoption. So
And when someone adopts a little puppy from the Humane Society, they've already been through.
They should, depending on how long
spay.
they've been with us. So this guy right here, he's too young for us to go ahead and neuter at this
Sure,
point
sure.
because he's not fully developed. So he would leave with his first 3 basic vaccines, his deworming. He's had a topical flea treatment and pretty much all the loving you can give him. But our adult dogs, they will be heartworm tested. They will have their first deworming on them. They'll have their kennel cough, distemper parvo. If we spay and neuter them, they will go ahead and have the rabies vaccine, and they'll be altered as well.
Yeah.
So really all you're doing is doing a 72-hour follow-up with your vet to get them on heartworm prevention and a topical flea
Right.
treatment every month, and that's it. So we've basically saved you about
Which is
$300
great.
doing everything.
So that's
wow.
that's the story we like to tell at our house. So we had 2 dogs forever. Bosley came from the Cobb County Humane Society back when my wife and I first got married. 18. We got him about 18 years ago. We got him from the Humane Society. Hey, buddy. I think I'm guessing this was 18 years ago. I'm thinking it cost us maybe $150 or so to get Bosley from the Humane Society.
Right.
Our second dog, and he was at that point he was shots and all that good stuff you just talked about, chipped and altered and everything.
Right, exactly.
Our second dog, Allie, was a dog had taken up at my wife's grandmother's house and had some puppies under the house. So Allie, hey buddy, Allie was free.
Right.
We say free because we then bring Allie home and take her to the vet, and now we're having to go through and do all the ones that you just mentioned.
Right.
The chip, the alter, the shots. Allie was hundreds of dollars.
Right.
So where Bosley was about 100, 150, she was upwards of 4.
Right.
4 something.
Right.
She was, so it was nearly 3 times as much for our free dog as it was for our Humane Society dog.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they both were awesome, and we just lost Bosley
Oh,
after
that's
about
a shame.
18 years, not long ago. So we're still heartbroken, too heartbroken to take Dougie home with us. We still got
Sure?
Allie. Yeah, we still got Allie. She's an elderly dog still now, but she's about 18 now still too. So we're taking care of Allie right now, or else Dougie would have a home. If my wife watches the video version of this show, he may still have a home. So Lacey, you stick to the podcast version of today's show. So yeah, we tell that story a lot, and we always
awesome.
recommend people to go to Humane Society.
Yeah.
And because the other side of that is we see people who they want this type of dog or that type of dog. I want this breed or I want that breed. And in the end, we end up seeing, we have friends that have very purebred dogs, and they end up having health issues
Yeah.
Yeah.
because of different things. Bosley and Allie, they're mutts. They're straight mutts. Bosley was a pug Shih Tzu kind of mix. He was
Right.
great. He was awesome. Allie, we're not quite sure about like Dougie here. Never had any major health issues.
Right.
Love a mutt. So that's just something we see a lot. So
And we get
always
tons of
talk
them
great
in.
about Humane Society. We love them.
We always get,
Hey, buddy.
like, the story with him, he has 6 other siblings.
Oh.
So 7 of them were found in a box on the side of the road.
Oh.
And they're probably a Heinz 57. We have 2 of them that we think are
I love it.
related to the mom,
Yeah.
but a little bit older. They came in at about 2.5 weeks old.
Yeah.
So they need to be about 8 weeks old before they get adopted. But, we get that. We get all these little Heinz
Yeah.
57 puppies. We get kittens under the decks. Some of them have moms, some of them don't. Right now, everything is either pregnant or in heat. We have some pitties right now. They're all pregnant. So we're waiting for babies. So we have lots of babies coming.
Yeah.
Lots of
I
babies
think
coming.
it's good the shelter has the meet and greet room so
Right.
that people
Oh, yeah.
can come in and take some time, whether it's a cat or dog, and see how they work together and play together. And You can bring your own dog in and see
that's
if
great.
they,
Yeah.
if they'll match
Oh,
up.
yeah.
The kennel techs are wonderful
Oh.
at managing that process, so everybody's
fantastic.
safe, and
Yeah.
you know
Yeah.
And
you
it gives
ensure.
us an idea of what she's saying.
Right.
It gives us a glimpse into what the household might be like, because it's neutral territory.
Bring your kids.
and the kids. Some dogs we don't bring a kid to the shelter and be like, let's dog test you and see if
Right.
you're good with. So what we do is it gives us an idea. Being in a meet and greet room, supervised, are they going to be good with kids? Are they going to be good with your dog at home? Vice versa. Is their dog going to be good with our animals? So it gives us an idea. I mean, we do the same thing for cats, but you don't often see people bringing their own cats to meet another cat.
I would love that. Yeah.
We have a dedicated room for you.
That's
It's great.
amazing. Yeah.
But I mean, a lot of
awesome, yeah.
a lot of the kudos go to our volunteers and our fosters. Without them, literally, a lot of the stuff wouldn't be done. Our volunteers, they work just as hard as paid employees. They're there every day, helping clean, helping to promote adoptions. You have the foot soldiers that are at adoption events, social media, dog walking. We have foster programs. Our fosters, I have some very sweet senior foster ladies. The only thing they want are older cats and older dogs.
Aw.
And so they want somebody that's growing old with them. And it's wonderful. And they have they have strollers for these dogs. Strollers.
my
It's
goodness.
fantastic.
Yeah.
And then we have people that, they really want a dog, but their lifestyle just won't work right now. So the best thing we tell them to do is either be a volunteer or be a foster. You can, if you're volunteering, you come and you love on all of our animals all day, and then you give them back. If you want something that's a little bit more permanent, you can raise them as puppies, and then once the time comes where they're ready to go for adoption, you bring them back and we'll adopt them out.
How
Same
do you
thing
do
for
that?
kittens. I mean,
Yeah.
Seriously.
I love it. I personally love it. I get my fill, and then I can bring them back.
I mean,
you
I do
know?
love a puppy. Everybody loves a puppy.
Oh my
But
goodness.
you get so attached. How do you give them up after that?
I don't know. I adopt a lot of animals. I don't know. My house
Okay, let 'em
is.
go.
Yeah.
What do
And
you
it
guys
is-
offer for if say somebody wanted to adopt a dog but had never owned a dog? What do you guys offer
education,
for them?
yeah.
Yeah.
So there's tons of resources. So when they do the adoption, we do an adoption packet. A lot of the local vets will go ahead and either do discounted or free services
Wow.
for their first visit. We have Bentley's, who's formerly Pet Things. They sit there and they'll do free bath, nail trim, give you a little bag of food. PetSmarts offers a coupon that does training, grooming, Banfield. There's crates, discounts, all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
On our side, what we do is we send you home with food, a goodie bag, toys, and treats. But not just that, it's the educational material as well. We give you information if this is your first puppy on crate training. How long their little bladders can hold pee before they actually have to go.
Yeah.
Overnight
Yeah.
tricks, establishing that you're the alpha, this is the way that we work in this house. We don't want you to go out the door and feel helpless.
Yeah.
It's kind of like when you have a baby, you don't know anything. There's really no books that tell you this is what you're going to get. This is what to expect, but not what you're going to
Yeah.
get. So we try to be that book and kind of give you some guidelines and say, here's how you can work through this process.
Yeah.
They're not going to be potty trained. Some of them are, some of them aren't.
Yeah.
But here's how you potty train. Here's how you walk them on a leash. Just some guidelines to help you. We just don't want you to feel helpless, like
Yeah.
you're stuck with this dog and we don't know what to do with it. So
And just not knowing, because there's a certain point where they're too young; they don't quite know yet.
Exactly.
So you can't, you don't want to be too stern, and this isn't the time for that. 'cause-
Right. It's
'cause of
positive
that.
reinforcement.
Yeah,
They
it's
say
positive
about 10
reinforcement.
days to
Yeah.
give a dog or cat time to relieve that stress from
Yeah.
the shelter. So it takes a little while for them
Yeah.
to get used to your home.
And we just did the other side of it. Like I said, we've got two that were just 18, 19 years old. So we've gotten to the elderly dog side. So we were trying to figure out, okay, so if they start having accidents in the home, what can
Right.
they control, what they can't control, what do we need to do? So I
It's
totally
always changing.
It's, just,
It's always
yeah,
changing,
Yeah,
you
it's
know.
a totally different thing.
And we have, our hospice dogs. We have quite a few elderly dogs. And a lot of them can't walk, or they
poor
walk. You
babies.
can't do stairs,
That was ours.
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
flooring. You need to do rugs instead of just wood floors. But, luckily we've had some great fosters that take, our senior dogs. And we have fantastic rescue groups that help with us.
That
we
takes
have,
some dedication.
Yeah, it does. It
Yeah.
does.
Bosley lost all back leg before, and it was something typical with like a pug,
Right,
which he had
right.
in him. So for the last year or so, we literally just had to move him from place to place. He had a special harness to try to
Right.
help walk him and stuff. So it takes a lot of dedication,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Totally worth it. totally worth it.
You had brought up the Wynn Foundation. They're also helping
Yeah.
us with the
Yes.
Awesome.
X-ray machinery.
Oh,
So when you talk
yeah.
about, is it a senior
everywhere.
issue or is it an actual problem, something that we can have the vets fix?
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
That
it's
they'll
the,
have an X-ray machine in-house because of the
Right.
Wynn
Wow.
Foundation.
Yeah.
It's
That's
the
incredible.
Win. It's
Yes,
the
we
Win 3
appreciate-
Charitable Trust.
Yes.
And they came in and met with us and saw the need that we had for an X-ray suite. We can do a lot of our diagnostics at the shelter, but without running X-rays, I can't tell if you have a broken hip or if you're just favoring that leg because
Yeah.
it's sore. This gives us the resources to go ahead and do that. So they came in and they've donated to us, so we're getting our X-ray suite built in probably in about a month or so. So that, I mean, it kind of works threefold. It helps the community because we're cutting down the time that an animal control officer has to sit at a vet office. Whereas,
Yeah.
you know, we
It can be
respect our
out
vets
in the community.
Right. We respect our vets enough to, we're not going to bump their clients. So we do sit there.
Sure.
We're kind of the last one. But then it takes, 2 hours to go ahead and get an animal seen. So instead of providing those resources for the officers to sit out there, they can actually be on the field transporting animals, doing what they're supposed to do versus sitting in an office. At the same time, it helps me and our vets here to go ahead and say, we don't have to send it out and wait for x-rays. We can do it here. And it's all cloud-based now. So it's
Wow.
fantastic. I can
The
take an
money
x-ray at the
saved
shelter.
will be amazing.
I mean, it'll pay for itself within a year.
Wow.
But, it is cloud-based. So I can take an x-ray, and if I don't have a vet that's right there physically in the building, I can just swipe it and upload it to a vet, and they're going to sit there and say, okay, well, this dog needs surgery.
Technology.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's
That's amazing.
fantastic. It is fantastic.
That is really
And
awesome.
then
It
the
is giving
doctors
quality
are
care.
getting the most information they can possibly have between the blood work machine and the x-ray machine, having a spayed or neutered, pet. They'll have everything, information they need to make that adoption and know they're getting the right dog or cat.
And a lot of the vets they're really on board with this because when they get an animal that's been adopted from us, where we've done all the vetting, anything like that, it's an easy exam for them.
Yeah.
We provide all the
Yeah.
records, so they're like, you got the dog from the shelter. They know what we're doing at the shelter. It's already done.
That's great.
Rescue
know.
groups too, because you'll see a lot on the social platforms, media platforms, that they need to know how much to get donations if they want to rescue an older senior, someone who's in medical need. That how much do we need to cover, and the information now that she'll be able to provide helps them make good decisions too on who they can rescue and how much
Right.
they need to be able to treat them further. So
Nice.
very good.
So you mentioned
More
earlier
adoptions.
volunteers. So obviously, is that the best way for people to get involved and help out?
Yes.
What all you guys are doing?
Yes.
Is come and volunteer
Volunteers
and just spreading the
are,
word.
Yes,
Yeah.
volunteers are literally our foot soldiers.
Yeah.
They are, we would not be able to do a lot of the stuff that we do without them.
Yeah.
On our surgery days, like today after this, we have surgeries. Okay, we need volunteers to help. We have volunteers that help with recovery, volunteers that are helping to clean instruments. During the week, we have volunteers that offer their services to help adoption events, adoption counseling, meet and greets. A lot of our volunteers, we have a dog walking program on Wednesdays after hours. We have 10, 15 volunteers that go in there. Everybody pulls a dog. They take them to the park, bring them back.
Aw.
There we
And
go.
it's getting them the enrichment that they need. So they don't feel like these dogs are just sitting there in a kennel not being,
Yeah.
played with. They come in there, they give baths, they take pictures. We have 2 volunteers in particular that come in there and take pictures of all of our animals. Beautiful profiles. Anything that a volunteer can help us with, we can find something for
Yeah.
them. And then we have our spay neuter gala to support our spay neuter program.
Sure.
That's on April 25th, and volunteers pretty much run the show.
Oh, nice.
So they're help seat people, greet people, get information out there, take pictures. It's wonderful.
April
Yeah,
25th.
it's at
right?
Deer Lick
Okay.
Park, and we transformed the gymnasium, make it look really good. We have the Carrabba's is helping us with the food and DJ. So we try to minimize costs where the majority of that money, if you buy tickets or sponsor or even provide items for our silent auction, it's going to all go toward those spay-neuter surgeries between the community and at the shelter. So
And I
we're
assume,
excited
are there
about
puppies at the event?
We
that.
usually
might have to bring puppies.
Yeah, usually we
You should
try
bring
to get
puppies
some animals.
everywhere you go.
Smart. Very smart.
Yes.
They kind of
Oh.
adopt themselves out. I mean, he's winning it
I
right
mean,
now.
Oh.
yeah, that's.
And that's the thing. So the puppies, maybe, and I'm assuming the puppies are the easy adoptions, but you have
Sometimes.
Maybe some older ones?
Sometimes, a
that the
lot
way
of
it
the
works?
older ones will tug at your heartstrings.
Oh, yeah.
And
Okay.
the police department sponsors some of our dogs.
Yeah.
So they'll do
Yeah.
like a pet of the month, and they usually pick one of the animals that is less adoptable based off of age or
Okay,
length of time in the
good.
shelter, and that kind of picks it up.
Excellent.
Puppies will go really quickly, but not everybody wants a puppy. Some of them want an older dog that's not.
Okay, yeah,
You don't
sure.
have to worry about
Right.
house training,
Yeah.
that kind
Yeah.
of stuff. So
I know, but look at his face.
This is the best
Well, and
view
that's
ever.
another way, is in volunteering. If you can't make it to the shelter, is to follow the Douglas County Animal Shelter
Yeah.
social media, the Douglas County Humane Society social media, and share the post and
Share the
tell your
pictures
friends.
out,
I think
Right.
a lot of
photos
times
out.
we
Yeah.
hear, "I didn't know the shelter was over there at 2171 Mack Road."
Did you say 2171 Mack Road?
2171 Mack
2171
Road,
Deer Lick
right
Park.
next to
Okay,
Deer Lick Park.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. 2171 Mack Road.
And so you need to tell your friends. You need to let them know that, if they start talking about, "Oh, I think I want a dog or a cat," well, why don't you check out the shelter first?
Absolutely.
So that is,
Yeah.
it's the support of the community, getting the information out to people, because not everybody's on Facebook or Instagram, Twitter. So we need everybody reaching people as much as we can.
Nice. Awesome. So awesome. So we're just going to hang out the rest of the day here with
Yeah,
Peggy.
no, I'm fine with that.
All right, so one more time, let's reiterate. So if people are interested in adopting an awesome little animal, what is the best way?
So a few ways. They can come to the shelter. We are closed on Mondays. On Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, it's 1 o'clock to 5:30. Weekends, it's 1 o'clock to 5 o'clock. They can come in, look at all the animals, meet with them, see if anybody, matches up with them, take them home when they're ready, spayed or neutered. They can go on adoptapet.com. Adoptapet.com, you put in 30135, the zip code, and it'll
Perfect.
list every animal that we have in our facility that's
That's
available
awesome.
for adoption.
That's really cool. All right, and if somebody wants to volunteer and just come out and, I want to volunteer to play with some puppies.
So they can go ahead and email us. Our email is animalshelter@co.douglas.ga.us.
Yep.
Ask for a volunteer application, or they can physically come in and fill out a volunteer application. Once it gets processed and vetted, we'll call you, set up an orientation, and get you started.
Or
Awesome.
douglascountyhumanesociety.com. We've got the volunteer for their shelter application on there as well. So a lot of times, we'll have some events throughout the year, but we always push people toward the shelter application because they do need to be over 18 years old. They'll do
Yeah.
the background check because it's part of the county. So we want people to be able to go in and out of that shelter and help with the dogs and cats, not just, outside events. So
Yeah.
we do provide that on our website, and also the tickets to our fundraising party. So it's a one-stop shop. You can see everything that we have on our website.
And of course, if there's any businesses that are ever interested in taking a tour, we will give you the VIP tour. So what you see in the front is not everything.
See
Come
that
in, we'll give
spay
you the full
surgery
tour.
suite, yep.
You get the VIP tour. We're open and willing to go ahead and do
Check that out, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, it goes for school
Throw it
groups,
right on the list.
everybody.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we do a lot of
Excellent.
special needs school groups, tours. Businesses, vet hospitals, you name it. If you want to come down, just let us know.
That's great.
And educating the children is a huge part where, one day maybe we won't have little puppies on the side of the road in boxes because we're telling our kids that, pets are family and, we want to treat them with respect and do the right thing. So we love getting the kids out to the shelter.
So awesome. He's asleep again.
We're all going to just do this right
Oh,
now.
take a nap. It's nap time.
He's clearly dreaming about something too, because occasionally he's running.
Oh.
So, all right. Well, is there anything else that you'd like to tell everyone about the wondrous things that you guys are doing over there to help our community?
A big thank you
do.
to Douglas
Yes.
County.
We
A big thank you
appreciate
to the
everyone.
vets, the volunteers, and the public for their support. This is a big year for us.
Yeah. Yeah. So
wanna
Douglasville and
keep
Douglas
it
County,
no-kill
absolutely.
status,
We want to
so-
keep that no-kill status.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
awesome.
Yes.
That's awesome, right, buddy?
We work very hard.
Incredible.
Very, very
Yes.
hard.
Yay. Very cool.
And we have a good staff. And that before I even,
Yes.
our
Wonderful
staff.
staff.
We have an incredible staff between the animal control officers and the shelter staff.
Yeah.
They are the manpower behind everything. So I don't want them to be forgotten. They're good guys.
Absolutely. Very cool.
Yes.
Very, very cool. All right. Well, with Dougie asleep and dreaming away, we will wrap up our show and say thank you
Thanks
for joining
having
us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Telling us all about what you guys are doing. Thanks, Haley, for joining us at the table. Thanks, Dougie.
It was a hard decision, but
So, and thank you all for tuning in and listening. And please definitely go check out the video version of our show to see Dougie's cute face at mycititv.com. That's our YouTube channel where you can watch the video version of this episode, which is going to be very important to see Dougie's smiling face. So, all right. Well, thank you guys for watching and listening and for joining us today.
Thank
We'll see you
you.
next time on Douglasville Impact.